Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we'll look at Boris Johnson, the embattled Prime Minister of Britain, a man who rarely says anything except waffle, waffle, waffle. But this time, he has come down off the fence and made a statement, and it is clear and it is unambiguous. What's happened to Boris? Who knows? He has said that there's a difference between women and men who want to be women. He has said people born with penises are men. Wow. He's one of the few politicians to make a stance. Most of the Labour lot can't. But he's basically backing Fina's claims and saying that if you're born a man, you can't swim against women. Let's have a look at this article and see what's possessed old BJ himself. So here we are. I mean, it is astounding that Boris has got enough spine to say it. Boris Johnson says there's a difference between being a woman and a trans woman, and that someone cannot be born with a penis without being a man, as he reaffirms his backing for Fina's ruling on trans athletes in swimming. Transgender women will be unable to race against females in elite swimming. Trans swimmer Leah Thomas sparked debate after smashing records in the pool. The Prime Minister was also asked whether a woman can be born with a penis. Not without being a man. That's my view about that, Boris Johnson replied. Unbelievable. I honestly am shocked that Boris would come out and say something so unambiguously and so clear. And for him, I mean, it's astounding. It's astounding. Because normally it's something Latin. Anyway, Boris Johnson has said there's a difference between being a woman and being a trans woman, and that someone cannot be born with a penis without being a man. Now, the International Swimming Federation announced that it was changing its policies so that transgender women can only compete in the organisation's female races if they have completed their transition by the age of 12. Instead, an open category will be set up for transgender athletes to compete against one another at events including the World Aquatics Championships, World Swimming Championships and the Swimming World Cup, which means there'll be about 9 people, all men wearing dresses, no women. And wouldn't it be funny if an actual a swimmy man, went into the open category and then the trans swimmer said, oh, that's not fair. And then the man would say, well, that's how I feel how the woman felt, you know. Anyway, the decision will mean American trans swimmer Leah Thomas, 23, won't be able to race against females after he smashed records and sparked a fierce debate about whether or not trans athletes should be allowed to compete. And they shouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying they can't compete anywhere, but they shouldn't compete against women. You can't have men against women. Clearly unfair. Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries will on Tuesday hold a meeting with leaders of the other sports bodies to make it crystal clear she wants them to follow the move. And asked about Fina's ban, Mr Johnson said, I haven't studied it in detail, but I see no reason to dissent. I'm just shocked at this. Why can he come out and say it, and why can't the Labour leader or anyone really on Labour's front bench come out and say it? It's because the left eats itself, and that's the problem. But then we always know socialist ideals are always self-destructive and stupid. After having the policy summarised to him, he added, that follows on from what I previously said. Mr Johnson was also asked if a woman could be born with a penis, amid a debate in some quarters, the Labour Party, about anatomy and gender. Not without being a man. That's my view about that. You see, you don't need to be a biologist to understand what a woman is. And what's amazing is you get all these women in the Labour Party and they all go, you ask them, what's a woman? Define a woman. Oh, I can't define a woman. Well, you've been one for 45 years, love. Anyway, speaking to reporters travelling with him during his visit to Rwanda, he asked if he thinks there's a difference between between women and trans women. And he paused to think and said, yes, trans women are men. He added, look, it's very, very important that as a society we should be very understanding of everybody else as possible. I've always stood for that. But when you start to move from the issues of sexuality to the issues of gender, you start to raise particular problems. I think I've spoken on 3 concerns I've had in the past, and they're to do with the age at which you can become competent to transition, the question of safe spaces for women, and the difficulties you have in sporting competitions. These are all very difficult problems. No, they're not. And you have to be very, very sensitive. Well, again, no, you don't. They're not difficult. If you were born a man, you stay the hell out of safe spaces for women. If you're born a man, you don't compete against women in sporting events. And to the age of in which you can competent to transition, fair enough. You've got the Gillick levels, so that's fine. There's no issues with any of them. And she says you have to be very, very sensitive. No, you don't. Life is not all about fairness and rainbows and unicorn farts. Life is short, sharp and brutal. There's no reason, there's no forcing you to be sensitive. If you don't like something, you can be offended, but being offended doesn't make you right. LGBT charity Stonewall, the Mad People, criticised the line of questioning, suggesting the Prime Minister would welcome it as a distraction from the political turmoil. Yeah, what they're actually saying is, no, don't ask that question. Don't get people in authority to speak against the agenda we're trying to push. Because LGBT, actually, you can take the LGB part off that, because Stonewall no longer represents LGs and Bs. It only represents Ts. And soon, Ps. But that's a different matter. Campaign's Associate Director Sasha Mishra said the real question should be on the nation's lips is this. No. You don't tell us what the question is. We tell you what the question is. We are the people asking the questions. You are just a campaign group for a very small minority of mentally ill people. We'll do the question asking. Thank you very much. He's saying, anyway, at a time when you're living through multiple national crises, why are journalists squandering valuable interview time by asking the Prime Minister leading questions about a tiny, vulnerable minority of mentally ill people? Because the tiny, vulnerable minority of mentally ill people are taking away rights, freedoms and opportunities from women. And they are actually negating the majority, the 51%, with their stealing of rights and freedoms and opportunities. We know that the majority, he carries on, or she carries on, it's hard to tell. We know that the majority of the public feel supportive and compassionate towards trans people. Really? I don't think so. I think you need to pull out some kind of backing for that statement. I don't think that's the case. Who are their family, friends and neighbours? No, I don't think. I think if you asked people, should trans men compete against women, I think you'd find that the majority say no. So your line there is a lie. It's wrong. Go get some backing. He's saying all that is achieved by this kind of media coverage is that trans people feel less safe in their day-to-day lives. Why? Nobody's attacked them. The Prime Minister was asked a question, he answered the question. Did he attack anyone? No. Get on with it. Get over it. He says the public has less opportunity to hear from the government on pressing political matters of the day. He's already been asked many, many questions on this tour. He's asked many, many times a day. What you're trying to do is cover up the important questions to you which go against your agenda. Some have interpreted the Conservatives' move to heighten the debate around trans as a way of widening divisions on the subject within the Labour Party. Well, why not? The Labour Party can't actually answer a question of what a woman is. Never mind define, should a man become a woman? You know, is a woman, is she a woman? Well, you can't answer that question if you can't say what a woman is. And that's Labour through and through. Idiots. Instead, he said, I don't think that discussing this issue in this way helps anyone in the long run. No, what he's saying is please stop asking these questions. It's destroying what we're working for, which is a complete destruction of woman. You sad, sad man. Anyway, I shall round off, come up and round this video away. I do think it's right that politicians are asked the question, what is a woman? Do you think that trans women are women and all that? I think it should be asked every time. And the Labour Party and their internal squabbles about what is a woman, and then they're fine, should trans women be women and all that. The Labour Party is imploding over this and over every other thing, over the rail strikes, over the economy, over Brexit. I mean, Labour are just unelectable. Mind you, they always have been. I mean, when you think that since, 1975, only one Labour leader has been elected. It's pretty poor, isn't it? And that's because the people of this country realise how damaging Labour is. And now they're in a position where they can't even, no one on the front bench of Labour can even tell you what a woman is. remarkable. And I'm just astounded, though, that Boris has come out and said that. So well done, Boris. I mean, you know, a lot of things have been going wrong for you recently. But for once, I applaud you. Anyway, round off there. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, try and work out what a woman is, and goodbye.